Hi, I'm Nicole
And Rebecca
from conquerbooks.com.
and today we are reading The Light Brigade by Kameron Hurley, which is a tale about Earth and Mars at war, armies traveling light speed through the solar system. You've got to see this.
So we were actually really inspired by the Light Brigade. We know that light speed is humanity's next big step, and so we've been doing some experiments, and today is our first trial.
Okay, so you've had the genetic modifier shots, the beam is charged, all we have to do is a safety check.
Seriously? That's a bike helmet.
Come on, it's for science. Okay. Nicole? Can I have all your books? So we were able to retrieve Nicole, so she will continue ownership of her books, but we did really enjoy reading The Light Brigade, which is about a woman named Dietz, and she's this down and out woman on Earth, but a futuristic Earth with a very interesting setting.
I was going to say she's likable, but she's not really that likable.
She's not really that likable.
No.
Dietz isn't a very likable character, but she's got a very interesting story. Dietz has lost her family. She used to live in Sao Paulo, and then there was this huge event, and Earth is at war with the Earthlings on Mars, who have now kind of formed their entire different coalition. Earth and Mars are very different places. And Dietz is brought into the war when Sao Paulo just disappears. Like, there's this crater where her home used to be, and her brother is gone, and her girlfriend is gone. And so that's when she gets really, very upset.
She's in the army because she wants to be a hero. She wants to be a hero for the people who she's lost in the past, and she's lost a lot of them, which you can see in who she is. She's a pretty tough gal. She's a scrapper. She's digging around for food. And she started out as a ghoul. Kameron Hurley structured her society to be citizens, residents, and ghouls, which is almost like first class, middle class, lower class, whereas the ghouls are the people who can't eat. They're living in labor camps. The residents are, they can live in the city, but they have to work for what they have, and citizens are the ones who get health care and jobs and education.
Full rights.
Yeah.
And so she's making this journey. She's really pulling herself up by her bootstraps. It's a very familiar traditional tale of somebody trying to right wrongs in their life, but she's doing it in this amazing setting because it's Earth set in the future where corporations are really ruling over governments. There's 6 big corporations, and they control everything about people's lives, and people don't have the same autonomy, independence, and freedom of thought that we do today. And Dietz doesn't really feel like she has a lot of choice in her life. Like, she's just kind of pulled along by the life that these corporations have set up and by the war between Earth and Mars.
And she doesn't seem to start out blaming these corporations. It's almost like she starts out wanting to be a citizen, and why wouldn't you? But these corporations rule the world, and there's a big theme in the book about information versus truth, what they're told versus what they find out versus what they believe. I enjoyed that part where Kameron Hurley really jumped back and forth with what the people are told and how Dietz is trying to figure out exactly what's true and what isn't.
Yeah, it was a very timely book, dealing with who gets the good life in life, who gets rights, who has citizenship, what does it mean to be transitioning through the different layers of society. She did some really nice world building. On Earth, there was the corporation aspect, and we got to see a little bit through the lens of the other characters that she worked with in the army. Some of them were citizens, and some of them had worked for corporations, and people whose lives were a bit more upper crust than her own was. And you can tell that other people think that she's just this like grimy kid who grew up and is still kind of a grimy person trying to make her way through life. But there was also some great technology in the book. One of the big points of this book is that soldiers are able to travel light speed to Mars to wage battles. And so Dietz goes through the military protocol. She does boot camp and training. She gets these injections to modify her genes. She goes through all of these different sorts of virtual reality training facilities to try and get her mentally ready for breaking into light speed. And Hurley uses that term over and over, that they're breaking apart to be able to travel light speed. And it's kind of this bittersweet thing, because light speed is such an interesting concept, but then that they're using this amazing creative technology to go to war is really sad to read in the book.
I enjoyed the part about the light speed, the way that Kameron really brought it to life. And she used technology to paint a picture of what a future on Earth would look like. She took a lot of the issues that we're facing today and really expounded on them. And if you took away all of the futuristic technology that's in the book, you'd be looking at a pretty hard reality of what we're looking at today, which makes a novel great when it makes people think about the world they're living in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Hurley is definitely thinking about today's world through the sci-fi lens so that it's entertaining, but it really does make you think. This book has a lot of big themes, and it's something that is pretty emotional to read through, because you just see how these big corporations and this war is shaping the lives of these ordinary, regular people.
Yeah. There were a lot of action sequences throughout the book. It's a book about war, and those were really fast-paced and intense. I thought she did a really fantastic job with her action and everything that was going on drama-wise.
Yeah, my husband was playing Apex Legends while I was reading this book, and so it kind of became the soundtrack while I was reading the book, which it's this new video game where I haven't played it. You're kind of like flying down, there's this cool music, and then suddenly everybody's shooting, and that fit very well with Dietz flying up, breaking apart into light, and then fighting on Mars or wherever she's going to. I don't read a lot of books about war, and I feel like a lot of science fiction really does focus on war between planets and races and species. But I thought that this was so well done because she was looking at it not through this brutality just for violence sake, but for analyzing our world and analyzing social justice issues, which I think was her strength in the book.
Yeah, everything in her book I think could be tied back to probably her own worldview for Kameron Hurley.
So Hurley's a strong writer, but she has definitely earned it. We saw on her website that she has a video of 15 years worth of rejection slips, and she just pans over all of these different people who said no thank you to her writing. But it's brought her to this place where she's writing some really creative things, and she really produces a lot of work. I read The Stars Are Legion recently, and that had some really terrific creative world building, and she is set to be a prolific writer, I think.
I think so too. Rejection letters are a reality for every writer, and she's shown that she can push through that many years of it, and I think that her career will go far. She's definitely somebody to keep an eye on. Our May read is going to be Exhalation by Ted Chiang, a book of short stories by the author of the short story Arrival that was then made into a movie. He's a very groundbreaking author, won a lot of awards, and he should be a fantastic read, so read along with us.
Bye.
Bye.